The Art of Letting Him Burn. Part 5. The Ashes. By May, Elena had finished her plan. Every detail was in place, the finances secured, the evidence stored, the apartment lease signed. There was nothing left to do but wait for the right moment, the strike of the match that would set the final fire, and when it came, it was almost too quiet. It started on a Tuesday morning. Mark sat at the kitchen table scrolling through his phone, half dressed, half listening as always. Elena, already showered and poised, placed a sealed envelope in front of him. "What's this?" he asked, brow furrowed. "Read it," she said simply. Inside was a single sheet of paper. Divorce papers. Mark's eyes widened, his smirk faltering. "What the hell is this, Elena?" She sipped her coffee, her calmness unnerving. "It's what you've earned." He slammed the papers down. "You're overreacting. We can work this out." She laughed softly, shaking her head. "Overreacting? I've been underreacting for years, Mark. That was the problem." He tried everything: denial, excuses, even half-hearted apologies. "It didn't mean anything," he muttered, avoiding her eyes. Elena leaned forward, her voice razor-sharp. "It meant enough for you to lie. Enough for you to humiliate me. Enough for you to gamble with everything we built." She slid another folder across the table. Inside, printed bank statements, screenshots of texts, photos she'd taken of him with his mistress, proof of his carelessness, his betrayal. "If you fight me on this," she said evenly, "these don't just stay between us. They'll find their way to your office, your family, maybe even her husband if you'd like me to send a copy." Mark paled, sweat beading at his temple. For once, his words failed him. Elena stood, collecting her keys and bag. "I don't want your money. I don't want your apologies. I want my freedom, and I'm taking it." He reached out, grabbing her wrist. His voice cracked, part desperation, part rage. "You can't just walk away." She looked down at his hand, then back at him, her gaze steady. "Watch me." She pulled free, her footsteps steady as she walked out the door. The click of the lock behind her sounded like the closing of a coffin lid. Her new apartment was small, sunlit, filled with possibilities. She painted the walls in colors she loved, hung her ceramics on open shelves, filled the space with plants that thrived under her care. For the first time in years, she breathed easily. She wasn't defined by his moods, his lies, his betrayal. She was hers again. The grief was still there, of course. Grief for the years she couldn't get back, for the love she had given so freely to a man who didn't deserve it. But grief had a way of burning clean, leaving room for something new to grow. Mark, meanwhile, began to crumble. The mistress was gone within weeks. Too messy, too complicated. At work, whispers circulated when he showed up disheveled, distracted. Friends drifted away when his bitterness spilled over into every conversation. And at night, in the house that felt more like a mausoleum without her presence, he sat alone, staring at the divorce papers he hadn't yet signed. He had thought she would always be there, orbiting his gravity. He had thought he was untouchable. But Elena's absence was louder than any fight, sharper than any scream. She had taken the one thing he never thought she would, herself, and it broke him. Months later, Elena returned to her ceramics studio. She stood before the kiln, sliding in a new piece she had shaped carefully over weeks. A large vase, strong, elegant, with delicate cracks running purposefully through the glaze. The instructor admired it. "Beautiful work. What's it called?" Elena smiled faintly, her fingers brushing the cool clay. "Reborn." She didn't need revenge anymore. Not in the way she had once thought. Because the real revenge wasn't in destroying him. It was in reclaiming herself, in leaving him with the emptiness he had created. Mark would live the rest of his life haunted by what he lost. And Elena, she would live hers free. The fire had burned, the ashes had settled, and in those ashes, Elena found herself again. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and a comment of what you thought of the story, and don't forget to subscribe. I'd greatly appreciate it.